So, second video today. Good evening, good morning, or afternoon, whatever happens to be while you're watching this. This is video number 2 of the day. Um, this goes in line with the gaslighting series, if you will, that I've been doing. But I also wanted to tie in to a series I did a while back about NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So I'm going to show how the two work together, tie together, and just how, I don't know what the right word is, just how, let's just say, evil and demented the media is. So I was reading an article on Facebook. It was an NBC article, and I'm sorry, but I can't find it again. But it was an article about one of Trump's provisional people that he's going to nominate to fulfill Ginsburg in the Supreme Court, and it's Bennett, right? Female, Catholic, mother of 7, etc. So it was an article that came out from NBC, and again, I'm sorry I can't find it again, and I just want to get this done before I go to bed. But right off the bat, it talks about the religious right, gaslighting. So we have to take a step back from that. Why would they throw in the term religious right? Okay, she's an admittedly Catholic person, and when she was being vetted for her position in the Seventh Circuit Appeals Court, it came up because of the whole abortion thing, right? So her religious take and stances and beliefs kind of came up and all that. But so okay, all right. But what is the current mainstream, not media, mainstream view when you say religious right? What is it? And why is it that way? So before you answer, I wanted to show you a couple things first. So for those of you that didn't see my first couple, the first videos I did on NLP, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown real quick. So the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is a psychological approach that involves analyzing strategies used by successful individuals and applying them to reach a personal goal. It relates thoughts, language, and patterns of behavior learned through experience to specific outcome. Okay, so in a nutshell, what NLP is it's a system to change your behaviors by changing your language, which ultimately changes your thoughts, which changes your behavior. Okay, that's the very, very basics of it. But NLP, there's a lot of stuff out there about it, but it's very heavily used. Think about those motivational coaches, right? The motivational speakers. That's what they do. They use NLP. They teach you to stop the negative, self-defeating internal language that everybody has and replace it with a positive one. Okay, that's what motivational speakers do. But there's a more nefarious side to it. If you want to go back on my YouTube channel, you can find them. They're labeled NLP series number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they're there. You can find them. So anyway, NLP in conjunction with gaslighting is very just eye-opening. So last couple of videos I've done, I've explained the whole gaslighting thing. I've used incidences and examples of how the media is gaslighting us. Well, here's another one. Now this kind of combines the NLP with the gaslighting. Okay, not specifically about Bennett, but what they're doing. So the left has been building and building and building upon the notion that the religious right is out of touch. They want to take away everybody's rights. The religious rights want to invoke their religious beliefs into politics. They want to use their religion to dictate women's reproductive rights. right? This is everything that we should all know by now. We've heard it a million times, right? You know, repeat a lie a million times, it becomes the truth, right? So here we have the two, gaslighting and NLP, coming together, the religious right. I'm not here to bash on religion, nor am I here to uplift it, okay? It's a fact thing for me. So the whether you want to agree or believe it or not, the United States was formed on religious freedom. That's why the pilgrims came here, not pilgrims, but everybody came here. They were to escaping the religious persecution that was going on in England. Now, keep in mind, the religious persecution in England had been going on for centuries, and it was a constant battle between Catholics and Protestants, Catholics and Protestants, the Anglican Church of England, the Church of England. It was a constant war depending upon who the ruling factor was, whether the king was a Christian or a Catholic, or the queen was a Protestant, etc. Right? So, and during those times in England, people couldn't practice their religion freely. If the Catholic person was in charge and you were a Protestant, you were persecuted. So that's what the pilgrims were trying to get away from. So they tried to get away from it. So that's how a country was built. You can argue what you want, but it's the truth. So during our early years and early constructive years and all that stuff, yes, everything was very heavily religious, because everybody was heavily religious. So you can say, leftists said, we've grown beyond that. We don't need religion anymore. So if you still follow and are or consider yourself to be a religious person, then you're basically stupid. You're trying to control women's bodies. You're trying to push your religion on me. That's gaslighting. You may have, Baptist people, preachers out on the street corner preaching, but they're free to do it, just as anybody's free to stand on a street corner and say whatever the hell they want to say, right? But of course, because you're a religious or Baptist or whatever preacher out there preaching, you're forcing it on me. I gotta find my safe space to get away from you. So now we have the NLP part, is the steady and subtle shifting of the ship's course to where the left wants it to be. They want Christians specifically, denigrated. They want them taken out. They don't want them in power. They want anything and everything Christian related to have a negative connotation to it. And going back to what I started with, the article from NBC about Bennett, it starts right off the top, religious right. So it's already starting the article with a negative connotation to it. That's gaslighting. That's what they're doing to you. But they're gaslighting based off of what's happened through NLP, where they've built up the belief that anything religious right or Christian is bad. So they're tying Amy Bennett, religious person who's on Trump's short list for Supreme Court, they're tying her religious belief to what's been billed as everything negative when it comes to Christianity. That's what they're doing. And it's very, very nefarious. So, sorry, I had to take care of something. Ooh, fighting off the hiccups. My apologies. So, in the article, they're gaslighting you by using what's been built up through NLP to where anything and everything Christian has a negative connotation to it. Therefore, they're tying already, and this person isn't even officially nominated yet. She just happens to be on the short list, right? They're tying a negative connotation to her already from the very beginning. They're gaslighting you right off the bat. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention and pay attention and look at any and everything coming from the left with regards to religion and Christianity specifically. I'm going to go and say, yes, the left as a whole isn't anti-religion. I will go out on a limb and say the left as a whole is anti-Christian. And why are they? Why have they gotten to this? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with what I'm saying, where for the last 5, 10 years, 12, 15 years, everything specifically Christian has been slapped with a negative connotation. Started off small and it just got bigger, 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 bigger. And to make a point, I want to show you a video clip of BLM protesters that happened in New York, August the 24th. This is an actual video clip of protesters. I want you to listen to what they're saying. Just listen. So here's the tweet. It's from Queen City Nerve, August the 24th, right? I want you to listen. Just listen. Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Did you catch it? So, not too long ago, the left tried to sort of distance/disassociate themselves with BLM and Antifa. They tried unsuccessfully to say that the rioters and the people causing hate and the damage and burning down stores, those were white nationalists. Those were the people starting. It wasn't Antifa. Couldn't have been. But what are white nationalists considered? Who are they? Look into what the left has painted a picture of with regards to white nationalists. Okay, white, heterosexual, typically male, right? Fascist, racist, and Christian. Not religious, not Islamic, not Buddhist or Taoist or Jewish or Confucianist or whatever. Specifically Christian. So there's a video of BLM and Antifa protesters marching down the street chanting, "Fuck your Jesus." I've known a lot of people from a lot of different races. I've known a lot of religious people from a lot of different races. And I've known a lot of Christians from a lot of different races. I know a lot of black people that are very religious. But here you have BLM and Antifa protesters marching down the street, openly screaming and chanting this. And it's okay. Okay, so from a legal standpoint, it's their legal right to do so. First Amendment, freedom of speech, right? Okay, from a legalistic standpoint, they have every right to do that. But why are they doing it? Do you think, honestly, that these people are actually doing that to reinforce what they feel is an encroachment on the First Amendment right? Or do you think there's something else involved? Why is it that the religious right, specifically the Christian religious right, has a negative connotation to it? Why do you think it's accepted? And why do you think people are proffering that? I'm not going to answer those questions for you. Those are questions I'm asking of you. I'm not asking you to convert. I'm not asking you to become a Christian and follower of Jesus. I'm not asking that at all. I'm the furthest thing from that. I'm just asking, why Christianity? Islam has the worst track record of every religion ever made, regardless of what people say about Christianity starting the wars. Nope, there was a war fought for about 400 years in Europe because the Islamists had invaded Europe. And back then, you only fought wars in the spring, winter, or spring, summer. And you didn't fight in the fall, winter. This wasn't the proper battlefield conditions, right? 400 years it went on. Then you can go to the Crusades. That was about kicking Islamists out of an area they didn't belong. But you don't hear any anti-Islam stuff coming from the left. Pardon me, excuse me, I'm fighting hiccups. It's very strange. They can claim to be anti-religious all they want to. They can claim that, they're trying to keep religion out of our government and out of our politics, right? But they're not disparaging Islamists. You have a lot of anti-Semites on the left, so they do bash Judaism, but Judaism and Christianity are basically, tied at the hip, if you will, right? What about Taoists? Do you ever hear anything bad about them? What about Buddhists? You can argue that Buddhism really isn't a religion, but we'll just go with it. Confucius. There's, what are they? The Rastafarians. The people who believe in the spaghetti monster, great spaghetti monster in the sky, right? They don't hear anything bad about them, and they're just as bad or worse. Christianity is strictly, it has its history. I'm not denying the history of Christianity, and when they were hunting witches in Salem and the Spanish Inquisition, right? I'm not saying it doesn't have but that is not a representation of religion. That is a representation of the people that are stupid, that call themselves Christian. But are they really? Christians really that bad? Is Christianity really a domineering force that has is there in the Christianity world a system set in place to where you have the supreme ruler, president, king, whatever, of a country, and who has a religious Christian counterpart who is just as influential and has just as much power in the Christianity world? Does that exist? You could claim the Pope, but the Pope has no ties to any specific country or any specific ruler. Islam does. The Ayatollah Khomeini, ring a bell? The Ayatollah of Iran, ring a bell? All of the Islamic dominated countries that have a Sharia component, which is parallel to the actual government, that holds just as much, and you can make the argument for more power than the actual president or king or whatever of that country. But yet, Christianity, bad. It's gaslighting. Along with tying in what has been going on using NLP. Stay awake. Pay attention. Read through, or what's between the lines. Read the nuances. Look at how articles are conditioning you. They argue and speak from an assumptive. In the case I brought up from the very beginning of this video, is brought up about the religious right and tying that to Bennett, who's Trump's choice, keeping in mind the negative connotation that's already associated with the religious right and Christianity. Watch what they do. And with that, I'll say goodnight. So, goodnight, Gracie. Oh, for those of you that are wondering, that's no George Byrne reference. So you younger folks might want to look at who he is. He was quite popular, quite funny. Anyway, good night.